Oh, good morning. I didn't know you were there. I was listening to a podcast that Dr. Jordan B. Peterson posted the other day, where he was interviewing the Honorable John Anderson, the former Deputy Prime Minister of Australia. And they were talking about lockdowns, the effectiveness in mitigating the disease, and of course the constitutional legality of continuing to use dire measures to control the pandemic, and the false notion that safety in one area is better than safety in another, as though the pandemic itself, or the illness itself rather, is the only consideration, when it's not. People have to make a living, people have to interact with one another, the economy must go on, and we have to learn to live with all the risks that we face in life. But the one thing I noticed throughout their podcast, and because I teach root cause analysis, I note these things in particular, they didn't ask the most important question. How the heck did we end up here? Where did this virus come from? What is its source? And moreover, what's the relationship between the pharmaceutical companies and the virus? So that is what we're going to deal with today. It's obviously a deep topic, and I've noticed that it's very hard to engage many of you in a conversation. You'll listen to a portion of my videos and then stop listening. And I understand that. If you're not interested, you're not interested. What does fascinate me is many of you claim to believe in constitutionally limited government and freedom and individual accountability, and yet you won't study yourselves any of the real dire things that we're facing, with a view to dealing with the root cause of why we're in our current situation. So Australia's really gone down the rabbit hole, but they have a politician there. What's the gentleman's name? I believe it's, let me click on this link and see if I can't see the gentleman's name come up. Yes, his name is George Christensen, and his profile indicates he's fighting for conservative values, and he is a member of the LNP party in Australia. So he reposted, I should say, an article by Senator Gerard Rennick from Australia. And this is what Senator Rennick observed, quoting newspaper articles. This article now from 2010, the 4th month and the 1st day of 2010 in the New York Times. Out of that article, Pfizer, the world's largest drug maker, said Wednesday that it paid about $20 million to 4,500 doctors and other medical professionals for consulting and speaking on its behalf in the last 6 months of 2009. Its first public accounting of payments to the people who decided which drugs to recommend. Pfizer also paid $15.3 million to 250 academic medical centers and other research groups for clinical trials in the same period. And that from the New York Times. Everything I'm going to refer to today, I will post below today's podcast so that you can look for yourself. Again, I do not ask people to believe me. This has absolutely nothing to do with me, in point of fact. But it has to do with wanting to find the truth. And in order to arrive at the truth, we have to learn to ask the right questions. Snot must be separated from mustache, and I ain't no conspiracy theorist. I will look for the facts, and I'll do my research, and I can share that research with you. What you do with it is up to you. Again, from the New York Times, Pfizer, the world's largest pharmaceutical company, pleaded guilty yesterday and agreed to pay $430 million to resolve criminal and civil charges that it paid doctors to prescribe its epilepsy drug, Neurontin, to patients with ailments that the drug was not federally approved to treat. And that article was published, let me see here, that was from May the 14th, 2004. The Securities and Exchange Commission announced on Tuesday it had reached a $45 million settlement to resolve charges that it subsidies bribed overseas doctors and other healthcare workers to increase sales of their drugs. That again from the New York Times from August the 7th, 2012. So this is the senator's observation. So if Pfizer can bribe doctors and health professionals, what's to say they can't bribe governments and health bureaucrats who control them? Starting to get the picture now. And this again from Senator Gerard Rennick, who's also a member of the LNP party, senator for Queensland, Australia. So I've compiled a list of articles on Pfizer's relationship with Wuhan. And I'll go through each one again. Every one of these articles will be posted below. Now, as you do this research, you're going to find that there will be many news sources that claim any relationship between Pfizer and Wuhan are false. But you can go to Pfizer's own website to find out that these things are in fact easily provable. From the first article, from Pfizer.com press release. Open hyperlink. Here we go. Pfizer announces partnership with Shanghai Institutes for Biological Sciences for drug discovery activities. This article is from Tuesday, June the 28th, 2009. Pfizer today announced a joint initiative with the Shanghai Institute for Biological Sciences to support fundamental research in China. As part of the initiative, Pfizer China will provide $500,000 each year over 3 years to fund health-related fundamental research project at SIBS and its application to drug discovery and development in the country. And it goes on, but I encourage you to read this in detail, because as we go on, we'll find out yet more of what's going on in China. From PharmaTime News, published on November the 25th, 2009, Pfizer to build research and development facility in Wuhan, China. Pfizer is expanding its R&D efforts in China and announced plans to build a new facility. An agreement has been signed to establish a new Pfizer Research Development Center in Wuhan, which the firm says represents an expansion of its existing facilities in Shanghai. Once the new plant is built, the company expects the number of employees to grow to 200 within 3 years, but gave no details about the financial investment involved. Pfizer noted that its Wuhan operations will liaise with local research institutes and universities, utilizing the rich resources of local talent and existing industry capabilities to develop research collaboration. And of course, that involves cooperating with the CCP, the Communist Chinese Communist Party. You know, I have a colleague, Dr. Cowling. His favorite saying is, you just can't make this shit up. And you can't. These facts are readily available to anyone who would care to investigate. Why more of you aren't doing it is beyond me. But this is the reality that we're facing. From the Wall Street Journal, published, let me see, on June the 3rd, 2021, Anthony Fauci and the Wuhan lab. Emails add to the mystery over U.S. funds for risky research. So more in this article about what this funding was going toward in Wuhan, where Pfizer itself admits they were developing technology, mRNA technology, and what was the U.S. relationship with it, and what did Dr. Fauci have to do with it? So this article raises all those questions. Again, all the links below. From Pharma Intelligence, dated the 12th of October 2010, executive summary. Pfizer to build research and development center in Wuhan. Pfizer's research and development subsidiary in China has signed a cooperation agreement with the Wuhan National Bioindustry Base to establish a research center in Wuhan. Now that laboratory that they're cooperating with is a few hundred meters distance from the wet market, which is claimed mind you, to be the center of the outbreak of this horrendous virus. And from Taiwan News, published the 18th of January 2021, WHO inspector caught on camera revealing coronavirus manipulation in Wuhan before pandemic. So that's in the Taiwan News. Again, the links below. Video shows scientists mention coronavirus experimentation in Wuhan lab weeks before pandemic. Taipei, Taiwan News. Video taken just before the start of the coronavirus pandemic shows a current World Health Organization inspector discuss the testing of modified coronaviruses on human cells and humanized mice in the Wuhan Institute of Virology, just weeks before the first case of COVID-19 was announced in the city of Wuhan itself. And this is a good one. Toastmasters. Find clubs. Who wouldn't want to be a member of Toastmasters? Toastmasters, Pfizer Wuhan Toastmasters Club. And again, the link below. They meet the second and fourth Monday of every month at 12 p.m. at the Pfizer Wuhan Research and Development Company, B14 BioLake Road. Oh, BioLake, 660. Oh, the address is 666 Gay Oxen Avenue. Ooh, well, the number of the beast is right on it. That's Toastmasters. It makes me want to get toasted. I think I'm going to do that as soon as this video is over. And right back to Canada here. Oh, this is a good one. Published April the 16th, 2020. Ottawa funds COVID-19 research project that is collaborating with Wuhan Virus Lab. So we helped fund the goddamn lab that produced the fucking virus. Oh, I'm sorry. I spoke in Latvian there. Again, you can't make this up. The Canadian government is funding a COVID-19 research project led by a University of Alberta professor that includes collaboration with the Wuhan Institute of Virology, the high-security infectious disease lab based in the Chinese city where the pandemic began. The The government has given Li Xiaochun, an analytical environmental toxicology research at the University of Alberta, a grant worth more than $828,000 to develop tools that provide rapid and inexpensive COVID-19 screening. It just keeps getting better. From the Globe and Mail, this article, again from October 16th, stating the same thing, how we're funding this cooperation with a laboratory in Wuhan, which certainly appears to me, I'm not a scientist, I'm not an expert in virology, but isn't it a coincidence that that lab is only a few hundred meters distant from the wet market, which is claimed to be the source of the China virus, the CCP virus? From Reuters.com. Pfizer said to expand research and development in central western China. This was published November the 25th, 2009. Hong Kong. Pfizer Incorporated plans to expand its research and development operations in central and western China as it strengthens its biomedical infrastructure throughout the country, the company said on Wednesday. Pfizer Research and Development will team up with its Chinese partner, Wuhan National Bioindustry Base Construction and Management Office, to establish a new Pfizer R&D center in Wuhan. So one must wonder, what is Pfizer's relationship to the actual virus itself? Could it be possible that they're not only responsible for creating its antidote, the mRNA protocol, but also were responsible for creating the pathogen? This is the first time, and I've said this many times in my podcast prior to this. Many times. This is the first time when one nation has attacked all the others with the cooperation and funding of all the others. That's how insane our political elite are to get into bed with this. And again, this is from theday.com. Pfizer plans research and development center in Wuhan. And this article, it was written by Lee Howard, published November the 26th, 2009. And the article has been blacked out. It's been redacted so that people can't read it. Pfizer.com news. Press release. Again, July 28, 2009, Pfizer announced a joint initiative with Shanghai Institute for Biological Sciences to support fundamental research in China. As a part of the initiatives, Pfizer China will provide $500,000 each year over 3 years to fund health-related fundamental research project. And it goes on about this relationship with the CCP. That's from Pfizer's own website. So you can't say that it's false news if it's on Pfizer's own website. Again, all the links below. Can't make it up, folks. Keeps getting better. New York Times. Pfizer gives details on payments to doctors. That one won't open. It wants me to buy it, which I'm not going to do. I saw it initially and now I can't see it. But that is indeed from the New York Times. Again, the link will be below. From the New York Times, 2014, Pfizer to pay $430 million. Open hyperlink. Over promoting drug to doctors. So that they've been found guilty in the past of bribing doctors. Who's to say they're not bribing our government? Again, from the New York Times. Pfizer settles U.S. charge of bribing doctors abroad. That's from 2012. German website here, Pfizer's German website, offering jobs in Wuhan. Opening the hyperlink here. Pfizer, this is Pfizer's own website, WRDC in Wuhan, Research and Development Center, China. Apply now. So you can go here and look at what is required. Carry out case processing activities. Review, rank, verify, process, and document case-related information. So they are openly advertising jobs in China at their research and development center in Wuhan. And yet other websites are saying that these links are false. Why would they be promoting jobs in China if any of this is false? Folks, it's time to think. Again, I can't think for you. I've done a lot of, well, I haven't done a lot. That would be a gross exaggeration. I went on the web for a few minutes and searched through the dross to find out what possible links there were between Pfizer and Wuhan. So I'm going to let you judge this for yourselves. I encourage you to open these links up, do your own research, and see what possible connection there is between major drug companies such as Pfizer and the Wuhan Institute of Virology. And ask yourself some basic questions. Ask yourself why 5 times. Ask yourself particularly, why are these readily available sites being labeled by fact checkers as false when they come from Pfizer itself? Please think. Because the only way out of our current crisis is for people to become self-aware and to hold their government accountable. This, so far, we are not doing because we are very poor at using reason to sort out snot from mustache. Have a great day, folks.